So this is going to be my report for the team I used in the Cannes and Bolzano special event to place 3rd and 8th respectively. So I'm basically doing this report as kind of a wrap up to the Cannes preparation that I did. The reason that I didn't do anything, like people were saying that they wanted to see some kind of wrap up video after Cannes, but then I was pretty sure I was still using the same if not a similar team in Bolzano, so I wanted to hold off until that event. Although I could have put the Cannes prep up after the Bolzano event, but I wanted to put it up, the preparation up afterwards as well. But I did make one slight change to the team between Cannes and Bolzano, so that's kind of why I held off until now. But in this video, I'm going to be focusing mainly on the team building process of this team. I went into a little bit of depth with it in the Cannes prep videos, but this is going to be literally from the very start of the team right until the finished product in Bolzano. So it's gonna be very focused on the team building. There will be the spreads of the Pokemon, and I'll talk about each Pokemon individually at the end. But I'm not really going to go into my actual tournament runs in Cannes and Bolzano very in depth at all, mainly because I don't take notes anymore, so I can't really remember what happened in Cannes that well. Bolzano was more recent, I can remember a bit more, but I won't be talking as much about the tournament run because this video is more focusing on the team building, because the point of the Cannes prep videos was to hopefully give an insight into preparation for tournaments to help other people improve. So focusing mainly on the team building process, or the entire team building process, hopefully gives you a little bit more insight into how I come up with my teams, because it's going to be very in depth. So if you wanted to just see the Pokemon spreads, they were already on my Cannes prep videos, but if you wanted to skip forward and just see the Pokemon spreads, then feel free, because I have no idea how long this is going to take to get to the Pokemon spreads, because there's a lot of iterations of the team it went through. From start to finish, but let's get on with it. Let's go to the starting point of my team. I actually started with my Cottony regional winning team. So looking at the finished product of the team, like there's a Xerneas, but apart from that, there is like pretty much nothing identical to this at all. So if you had to guess, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't have guessed that this would have been the actual starting point of my Sun and Moon team. But this was what it was. Basically, I was looking back at my successful teams, saw this one, and it was a GS team. So it's my favorite team that I've ever made, still to this day. But obviously, Rayquaza, or at least Mega Rayquaza, wasn't available. This was back in Sun. I think I started the actual preparation for this team back in November, sometime in the middle of November, maybe, because it was maybe a month before Harrogate, which was in December. So that indicates how long I've been working on this team. It's been quite a few months now, and it's a shame that I have to retire it now because it seems to be a somewhat successful team, but it's probably not going to be that great in Ultra, so I'll have to try and find something else. But this was the starting point of the team. And straight away, obviously, no Mega Rayquaza, regular Rayquaza, especially in Sun, is just terrible. So there's no reason to run Mega Ray or run regular Rayquaza, so I need to change that at least. And there's also another change that I can see straight away. Infernape is such a lovely Pokemon. I really like using Infernape back in 15 and 16, but yeah, there's that Salazzle just sitting right there. It's even faster than Infernape. One of the main problems with Infernape was it was 108 speed and it undersped Kartana by 1. Salazzle is way faster, easily outspeeds. I should just say as well, for some reason I could only find Gen 5 to Gen 7 shiny sprites, so they're going to be shiny, and we have to look at the white Yveltal the entire time, unfortunately, but there we go. But yeah, the Yveltal was pretty much just put on as the pseudo Rayquaza, just as the starting point. I wasn't committed to Yveltal at all, but it just seemed like the most logical change from Rayquaza, so I went with that, and unfortunately, I got rid of the Cottony straight away. There wasn't that much of a need for it anymore, because its main thing was stopping Dark Void from the Scarf Smeargles on the standard X-ray teams, so it wasn't really needed anymore. Everyone ended up shifting to Lovely Kiss, which is really, really, like, looking back, it's really funny, but also really silly. I understand why, but it's really silly. So I made the change from Cottony to Kartana, just like because it was a grass type. I thought that was the most logical change. It now has access to Tailwind, so Tailwind would be really nice. I kept the Power Aegislash and Assault Vest Rotom Wash at this point, I think. So I started off with, and pretty much ended up with, black glasses on the Velcro. I guess I slightly changed the black glasses, but black glasses was the starting point. I went with the triple dark from the get-go, with knockoff, foul play, and sucker punch. I did think that was his best set. No one was really using Assault Vest Velcro at that point, so that wasn't really a consideration. I just went with the standard triple dark that was really good in 16. But yeah, that was the very first change to this team. But Kartana wasn't that great. So then Theoried, Amoonguss, Redirection with Xerneas is always nice, Spores are always nice. And it still didn't really work out. Amoonguss for some reason doesn't really suit me at all. I've never really got along with it. It's the same with Incineroar. Like, Incineroar and Amoonguss are obviously amazing Pokemon, but they just don't gel with me very well. So Amoonguss wasn't the correct Pokemon here. Maybe it was for someone else, but I'm building the team for me, and I have some Pokemon that seem to suit me better than most other people, and there is probably one that I can actually pretty much claim for myself, like outside of Cottony. Like, that's just a extreme scenario, but now the Pokemon that I've cut regionals with the most is Serperior, with 4 regional cuts with Serperior, and pretty much as a joke back in, it was for Malmo, I put on Wide Lens Swagger as a joke with the Alolan Persian, and then I ended up winning the regional with that set, which I thought was quite funny. So then I thought, hey, I can do the same thing. This joke worked out really well. Let's use this Wide Lens Swagger Serperior with an even stronger foul play with a Velcro. So that's how Serperior ended up on this team. The other 2 grass types weren't working out too well for me, and Serperior came onto the team again, kind of as a joke, just because I liked Serperior. But then when I actually got around to testing it, it was really good. It was really good. And no one believes me. Serperior is such a fantastic Pokemon. Like, it's a support Pokemon that can also set up and become super offensively threatening. And I'll go into more detail when I get to the Serperior, but that slight joke change ended up, again, being amazing for the team. But yeah, the Rotom Wash wasn't ideal. So, like, Scarf Kyogre was still a thing, and even though I had the Assault Vest, it couldn't hit, the Water Spout would go off first, and I don't have White Guard on my Aegislash. I've always run Shadow Sneak instead. White Guard is a good move, but Shadow Sneak is just amazing. So I did change to Ludicolo for double Fake Out, which is obviously good with Xerneas, and for a slightly better matchup against Scarf Kyogre. But still wasn't that great. I ended up trying Toxicroak for a little bit, because then it's just absolutely immune to the Water Spouts, and I've still got the double Fake Out. I'm still a bit more threatening against opposing Xerneas, because with a Velcro you have to be threatening against opposing Xerneas, and Salazzle does help out a lot with that, because it somewhat stops them from being able to Geomancy straight away, so it would only be a late game Geomancy that threatens a Velcro. Yeah, with double Fake Out now on the team, I thought it would make sense to try out Tapu Bulu because of Tapu Lele stopping my Fake Outs. I thought it would make sense for that, but I don't think Bulu lasted very long at all. I pretty much went straight back to Serperior because it just seems so much better than Bulu, I think. But from here, apparently I tested out Celesteela for a little bit as well, because I basically just went back and looked at my team builder and picked out the different stages of the team building. So Tapu Bulu didn't last very long. Apparently neither did Celesteela, because I changed that as well, back to Aegislash for a bit. And I changed Toxicroak to Mienshao because I had a look at its high jump kick calc, and with Reckless, you don't need inner focus, no one fakes out in Mienshao. With Reckless, its high jump kick was, I think it was equivalent to Pheromosa's high jump kick, and that's a very strong move. Mienshao ended up being, like, I think I was looking at Pokemon that could OHKO Incineroar even with an Intimidate, and Mienshao with Reckless high jump kick was able to do that. I think it was a roll just with normal, but then if you had something like Fist Plate or Life Orb, I definitely had Life Orb on Mienshao at some point. It could OHKO through the Intimidates, guaranteed. And that was, like, people should try out Reckless Mienshao a bit like more. Its high jump kick is super strong. But I think at this point I go a little bit crazy here in that Mienshao slot. I end up changing the Mienshao, and I need something that can deal with Stack Attacker. Because I can't fit Sacred Sword on my Aegislash. Shadow Ball, Gyro Ball, Shadow Sneak is just the best Aegislash. But what I did find I was struggling with Stack Attackers quite a bit. So looking back at my team build, I do go on quite a bit of a rampage here. So the next few slides are going to be some Pokemon that I didn't test out in this slot, but I theoried. Like, I made sets of these Pokemon. I can't remember what they were, because they're back on my team builder now, but should be quite self-explanatory that Landorus and Gastrodon and Low Kick / Superpower Tyranitar can OHKO Stack Attackers, and there's Nido King and Queen. Lucario, if it just had the tiniest bit more bulk, it just needed the tiniest bit more bulk, and you could just go full special defense, and it was rolls to live things like Water Spout, and if it's just the tiniest bit more, it would be usable, because the Sash was taken on Salazzle. I couldn't change the Sash from Salazzle, it's just the best item. Sash Lucario would have been lovely. If Salazzle could have had a different item and Sash was free, Lucario would have been amazing on this team, but that wasn't allowed, and it wasn't bulky enough. What else do we have? I think I go through a reasonable amount of water types, because Stack Attacker is weak to water, although it was commonly paired with Groudon near the beginning. Well, when did the Evolved team pop up? It was like right around Harrogate, I think. So, but yeah, there's some more water types. Tentacruel is not worth. Don't try Tentacruel. But Kingler was really good. I ended up bringing Kingler to what was it, an MSS and a PC, and I went 2-2 in the MSS because I lost to a super crit round 1. Which was the high roll critical hit, which is hilarious to lose to. And then round 2 I lost to an overheat miss. But Kingler was really good. So what was that? That was like Life Orb, Crabhammer, Superpower, Ally Switch, White Guard, I think it was. And that was actually legit. I really liked Kingler because Hypercutter stopping Intimidates meant that even Life Orb Superpower could get Incineroar, so you don't have to miss the Crabhammer miss. But Crabhammer was also super strong, and it was really nice. Again, there's Milotic and Azumarill. Both of them can get Stack Attack. Well, Milotic can if you get the Intimidate boost. Maybe a Hydro Pump. Maybe it's like... Would I look at Specs Milotic? I don't know. Maybe I did, but I'm pretty sure I was looking at these slots that could OHKO Stack Attackers. So for Alligator, with its Life Orb Liquidation, Sheer Force stuff, Suicune, I guess, could Roar the Stack Attackers. Politoed I did try out at reasonable amounts as well. For some reason I had a Hypnosis, a blind Hypnosis Politoed. But Politoed was really underused in Sun and Moon. Like, it's not going to be used in Ultra, but it was really underused in Sun and Moon. I thought it had really good potential, and pretty much, Enosh, and that was it that used Politoed. I'm very surprised that Politoed went underused. Same with Tyranitar. Tyranitar popped up literally right at the end of Moon. And, like... That was also... Did anyone see the Assault Vest Tyranitar Calkin? Like, you could, with the Assault Vest, Tyranitar could live Water Spout in the rain. It didn't even need the Sand boost. And in the Sand, it was like a 3-hit KO with what Water Spout is. Like, no one used Assault Vest Tyranitar, and it's really silly. But, yeah, here's some more water types, I guess. Yeah, Crawdon is really strong with the Dark Aura boost. I think it was Life Orb. Like, super fast Crawdon, like max speed, no bulk, and it hit really hard with Dark Aura boosted Life Orb knockoff. Primarina, when I put the Primarina on the team, I'm pretty sure I pledged it with Serperior. Because at this point, Swagger's gone from Serperior. I changed it to Protect reasonably quickly. I think I clicked Swagger once ever with Serperior. And I can remember it was against Eshi VGC. Because like I remember that, because then she hit herself in Confusion. I think I Parafusioned her. But like that was literally the only time I ever clicked Swagger with Serperior. So I changed to Protect, because Protect is a good move, I've heard. But Kommo-o is there. Like, it's quite funny that Kommo-o is there already, but because this is in Sun at this point. This is Sun. This is the preparation for the Harrogate Regional, which is the Sun Series. So Kommo-o was considered, it was an Assault Vest Kommo-o. I think it was with like bulldoze and close combat and stuff, and it was not good. Don't use Assault Vest Kommo-o. But yeah, I think it's quite funny that I was considering it at this point, given what I end up bringing to cans. But am I still going here? Yep, I'm still going Pelipper as well. Like, I think like it got White Guard and Tailwind. That's a good moveset. Again, just the rain doesn't have to be Kyogre. Pelipper was still really good. There's a Staraptor there, which is quite funny because what I ended up bringing for Harrogate as well. But that was a Scarf Staraptor. That was different to what comes later on. And Empoleon is just wishing for Iron Head. If it got Iron Head, it would be so much better. But alas, it doesn't. But here we go. Here we go. I think back to the actual. Well, no, I want to say, don't want to say actual team building, because that was still team building. That was the theorying, I guess. This is more the building. But yeah, tried out Pheromosa for a bit, because Pheromosa is a wonderful Pokemon. I like Pheromosa. No one else likes Pheromosa. But it's a really good support Pokemon, in the fact that it can give some permanent fake outs to Pokemon. But it's really nice. And apparently I ended up using Pheromosa for a little bit as well, according to my team builder. But I think at this point I say goodbye to Aegislash. Which is a bit of a shame, because Aegislash is still really good, and it was again still in Sun, so there wasn't any Menacing Moonrays Maelstroms going around. So Aegislash could live a Moongeist Beam. And then, well, I don't think it didn't KO back with the Shadow Ball, but it KO'd back with a Shadow Ball into Shadow Sneak. So I ended up getting rid of Aegislash here. I ended up trying out Stack Attacker. I think it was an Assault Vest Stack Attacker at this point. No, it wasn't. It was Expert Belt Superpower, because I still wanted to hit other Stack Attackers. And you needed at least Expert Belt Superpower to be able to one-shot opposing Stack Attackers. And apparently as well, according to my team builder, I tried out Assault Vest Excadrill here as well. So I end up coming back to things. I don't just disregard things completely. If I can find new ways to run things, because this was Assault Vest Excadrill, that Staraptor was Choice Scarf, that Kommo-o was Assault Vest, so I didn't just completely disregard things. But apparently at that point, like in my team builder, there was an Excadrill, an Assault Vest Excadrill, so thought that was worth mentioning. But I do go back to Stack Attacker pretty quickly after that Excadrill, and I also try out Medicham, because Amoonguss now is the problem for the team. I'm not so weak to Stack Attackers anymore, and Amoonguss ends up being the problem that I need to solve at the moment. And Medicham still helps with the Stack Attackers because of the fighting type, and Zen Headbutt is obviously really good against Amoonguss, although Pineapple Berry is the thing. And it was very much a thing around the time I was testing Medicham. I think... No, that was the Assault Vest. The Medicham was Assault Vest, because it could live a Water Spout, and something like Zen Headbutt, High Jump Kick, Fake Out Feint. It's actually pretty reasonable, because again, Medicham with the huge power boost can OHKO Incineroar at -1 with its High Jump Kick, and I think it's slightly stronger than Mienchao's Reckless High Jump Kick, and that means it's probably stronger than Pheromosa's High Jump Kick as well. So like, Medicham is good. Maybe Mega Medicham is worth considering for Ultra because of the speed now, and because Kang isn't as good. But anyway, don't want to get sidetracked, because this is there's a lot to get through here. But because of all the Pineapple Berries, I end up changing to Togekiss at this point. I don't one-shot Amoonguss, but I'm still two-shotting them with Air Slash, and they're probably flinching as well. I think I'm pretty sure I have safety goggles on the Togekiss as well, because then I can just redirect the Amoonguss and it's not so much of an issue anymore. I also tried out some Tapu Koko, because that just stops the spores. There's still the Clear Smogs though, and it's not just Xerneas that doesn't appreciate Clear Smogs. Serperior as well doesn't appreciate Clear Smogs. That's pretty bad for it as well. I think this was a Scarf Koko. I think I only ever tried Scarf Koko on this team, because my Xerneas was always modest and always, or it was always bulky. It got bulkier in Moon than it was in Sun. I guess because of Z-moves becoming a thing, so it needed that extra bulk. But it was still slower than Scarf Koko, so you could still Sky Drop things and then +2 Moonblast them on the drop. And here I go mad again. I tried, well, I don't try out, this is another theorying stage. I just have loads of things theory in this lot. Pretty sure that was a Scarf Greninja with Map Block. which no one's using. Like, Map Block's really good with Xerneas. Like, why don't people use Map Block with Xerneas? But, yeah, there was a safety goal with Charizard. Ah, yes. This was the Groudon Venusaur point, where I needed to beat Groudon Venusaur, because you're probably wondering why there's a Xatu there. Yeah, safety goggles Charizard could help with Groudon Venusaur, because they can't sleep powder. You can get Tailwind, you can solar power overheat them. Xatu can't be sleep powdered because you just magic bounce them back. But yeah, that's not really worth it. So here's, I guess, some more things like Jinx. Does that really help out with Groudon Venusaur? Because this was the Groudon Venusaur stage. Like, Thunderous can paralyze Venusaur, which is fine. That was safety goggles Latias as well, I'm pretty sure. Ah, yeah, and then I end up with Hydreigon for quite a while. Safety goggles Hydreigon, because that ends up being really good against Groudon Venusaur, but it also hits Stack Attacker with Earth Power. Like like I don't want to forget about these things that cause problems for the team, because when you change a Pokemon that was to deal with another matchup, then that matchup could get worse. But Hydreigon kept the offensiveness against the Stack Attacker. The safety goggles still helps with Amoonguss somewhat, and it helps with Groudon Venusaur. So what did I have? Like Dark Pulse, Earth Power, Tailwind. No, yeah, that's the funny one. Dark Pulse, Earth Power, Tailwind, and Head Smash, because my team doesn't really appreciate Ho-Oh that much. Like, I have a Stack Attacker, and Evelpool hits it really hard as well. With Knockoff in Sun, and then you should foul play in Moon because of Flyinium, but yeah, Head Smash was another way of hitting Ho-Oh unexpectedly, and it did more damage to Incineroar if you were unintimidated than Earth Power did. So, but yeah, here, like, I think I say goodbye to Stack Attacker as well here. Like, it was fine. It was fine, but not right. So now I go through and I think I look at all the steals I would want for my team. My team was reasonably weak to Tapu Koko's. So Togedemaru does make sense. Sizzle was really good when I tried Sizzle. That was a Life Orb Sizzle with Bullet Punch, Superpower, Swords Dance, Protect. And that was actually pretty good, because that, at +1, could OHKO Incineroars. Because they would switch in, you would Swords Dance, and you have a little bit of speed, so that you outspeed them and then just Superpower and they're gone. So that was pretty good. And that still hits Stack Attackers as well, because I want my Steel to be able to hit Stack Attackers, because I want a Steel. I want something to be able to deal with Xerneas, because I have Evelpool. Like, you need, and I have Hydreigon at this point. I definitely need something to be able to deal with Xerneas. And here, like, I look at Heatran as well. Heatran wasn't really worth it. Like, it had Earth Power for Stack Attackers, but it's like it hits on the special side. Magnezone was an Assault Vest 1 with Gyro Ball, because you could still hit the Xerneas on the physical side. It did like 70 to 85% or something with Gyro Ball. So you could still hit them like super hard and probably put them in Sucker Punch range, even if they Geomant Seeds and you're a special attacker. That is a Silvally Steel. Because it's a physical steel. Had Tailwind as well, like Tailwind, what did I have? Multi-attack, Tailwind, Parting Shot, Roar, I think I had. And it was not good. Don't use Silvally. What we got next? Yeah, okay, so we're getting pretty close to what I end up bringing for Harrogate now, because I brought Metagross to Harrogate. Metagross hits Amoonguss again, because I got rid of, what was it, the Medicham, or, I think, yeah, it was the Medicham at that point to help with Amoonguss. Hydreigon is immune, like, I want to say immune to Amoonguss, but it doesn't deal with Amoonguss, if that makes sense. Metagross with its Psychic typing, even though there was Pineapple Berries everywhere, that did help out with Amoonguss a bit more. It also still had a fighting move in Hammer Arm, so that it could hit Stack Attackers. It didn't OHKO Stack Attackers. It could hit Incineroars as well, but it could miss, and that was one of the big issues. Then Headbutt could also miss, but the combination of Iron Head and Bullet Punch could KO a no-box Xerneas, and with the Assault Vest it could live a Moongeist Beam. Because, of course, there was no Z-moves in Sun, so we're getting pretty close now. Pretty close to at least Harrogate, because the final change that I made was going back to this Staraptor. Because I still needed something that was good against Groudon Venusaur. So basically what I could do, rather than just be safety goggles, I could leave with Salazzle and Staraptor, fake out the Venusaur and Tailwind, and like outside of what, Banded Stone Edge or something, because of the Intimidate. I wasn't really a fan of Intimidate with Evelpool, because of foul play damage. I didn't want Intimidate on my team if I could help it. I did start with Reckless on this Staraptor. It was a Life Orb Staraptor as well. with Brave Bird, Close Combat, Tailwind, and I did play around with Whirlwind, but I ended up with Detect. So yeah, I could fake out Tailwind. Because the Groudon was intimidated, either I go to Sash or like I take a Rock Slide or a Stone Edge, but Staraptor still lives, and then I can deal with the Venusaur that way. So that is what I ended up for with Harrogate. Oh yeah, because Brave Bird OHKO'd Amoonguss with the Life Orb. With the Life Orb Brave Bird. So this is what I ended up bringing to Harrogate. So I had the reasonably bulky Xerneas. I had Dreadplate Evelful because if there's slightly different like items with the same same effect but different names, you should probably use them. Shout outs to Razorclaw against William Tansley, top 4 of that MSS. But yeah, Dreadplate Evelful with like reasonable bulk. The Evelful could take a Serena Feint into Kyogre Water Spout, because if you look at the team, it looks pretty weak to Serena Kyogre, but it was actually really good because I could lead Serperior, Evelful, and I could go for Glare Knockoff into the Kyogre. Both things would live outside of a Helping Hand, but if he Helping Hands, I've glared his Kyogre and my Evelful dies, but then I get a Freemancy because he definitely underspeeds my Xerneas at that point. And the Serena isn't really threatening me that much, so... Oh yeah, because he underspeeds me. I could Leaf Storm, reduce that water damage, so it's doing nothing, and then get the Freemancy that way. But yeah, as like Dreadplate, Evelful, Assault Vest, Metagross with Iron Head, Zen Headbutt, Hammer Arm, Bullet Punch, Wide Lens Serperior. It was always Wide Lens, even when I got rid of Swagger. It's always Wide Lens. Like I can't change from Wide Lens. Overheat, Sludge Bomb, Fake Out Encore, Salazzle, it had always been that as well. I think I had Taunt at the very beginning, but then I changed to Encore pretty much immediately. And Life Orb, Brave Bird, Close Combat, Tailwind, Detect, Staraptor. So that ended up being my Harrogate team. I got 1909 with this team on the ladder. I can't remember which iteration it was, but at some point, I'm pretty sure it must have been the last one. Pretty sure it would have been this one because it was like I didn't climb after that. But yeah, with this team, I peaked at 1909 on the Showdown ladder. That's the highest I've ever been on the Showdown ladder. I got 1897 back in BGC 17 with my Cloister Brazil team, and I was a spore away from getting 1900s then, but I got an accuracy drop and then missed the spore, and I was so mad because I tilted off that and just bombed down the ladder, but finally got 1900s with this team. So I was feeling really good going into Harrogate, and then went 5-3, which is not great. There was still, like, looking back, there were some obvious weaknesses to the team. And I do patch them pretty much immediately going into Moon, because this is the end of Sun now. We're going into Moon from now on, so Z moves are available. So that's going to influence my team building a bit more, but this was it for Sun. This was Harrogate. Like this isn't even a Harrogate regional report, but yeah, that's what I ended up with for Harrogate. But moving on, this is now Moon. This was the very start, the very first change I made to this team. Again, this was a joke, like, and it ended up being not that great. But yeah, like Doublade was still a pretty good steal. Like it was pseudo Aegis Slash with no King Shield. I think I had Wide Guard over what would have been King Shield. But the main thing that Doublade had over Aegis Slash was no guard, and with Z moves now available, that Ninetales had Z roleplay. And if you don't know what Z roleplay does, it gives you +1 speed, and then you side roleplay your own Doublade, giving your Ninetales no guard, and then you 100% accurate sheer cold things. And I thought it was quite funny. It was fun to use. Like, it was not good, it was not consistent, but it was a lot of fun. But now, going from here, I make the very first change I made to the team. Like, it was the Doublade and the Ninetales slot. Like, those could change. I was super happy with Xerneas, Evelful, Serperior, Salazzle. Like, those four together were so good, and I didn't think I needed to change them at all. But the first change I made, I went with Excadrill, like, almost straight away after Harrogate. If I'd have come up with this Excadrill for Harrogate, I would have done so much better. Given the matchups I faced, like, one of my losses was Dialga. The Excadrill just bodies that. One of my losses was Specs Coco. Excadrill bodies that. I'm quite mad I didn't come up with this Excadrill before, because, like, I used the Assault Vest Excadrill, and it was like, it's too weak. Like, that was the reason why I didn't use Excadrill. It was too weak. And I just made it not weak. Like, it was such a simple thing to do. This Excadrill is so strong, just not Assault Vest. Choice Band. Choice Band was just absolutely correct on Excadrill. And if I'd just given it a bit more thought for Harrogate, I would have been able to bring that Excadrill and surely do a lot better. But there we go. I was too late for Harrogate. But it wasn't too late for Moon. I got this Excadrill pretty early, and it ended up being just so good, and was already a staple on this team. Like, just the choice band just changed everything, because I was weak to stack attackers. I was no longer weak to stack attackers. I was weak to Tapu Koko. I was no longer weak to Tapu Koko. Like, it was just such a good change, and yeah, well, like, at least I did come up with it in time for two majors. But that's a Z Latias over on the other side, because Amoonguss as again was still one of the issues for the team. And then the Shattered Psyche, if they weren't Piper, and people were shifting away from Piper. I think mainly because Z Volcarona became a thing, so then they shifted from Piper to Oka for that. So then I felt a bit more comfortable going with a Shattered Psyche with Latias instead. But that was supposed to help with Ground and Venusaur still, because I still need to be able to do well against that. But yeah, it didn't help with that. It helped with turn 1 and then was useless. So Latias was not that great. I tried out Z Flying Him Z and Togekiss at one point. Z Air Slash is just not worth it. You get Z Tailwind as well, but like that was just not worth it. I'm pretty sure I go through a few more Z-Mons in this slot, because I'm pretty sure that slot needs to be the Z, because Power Herb, like, don't do Z Geomancy. I was really happy with the Yveltal, because now I've shifted, like, I forgot to say, Black Glasses and Sun, but then if you have a look at the Lunala calc, Black Glasses, because they're all Z move now, Knockoff no longer Oko. So I shifted from Black Glasses to Life Orb, and I never looked back. Like, Life Orb Yveltal was just so good. It was so strong, because I was like bulky Black Glasses, or Dreadplate, I guess. I was like 84 attack Black Glasses. I keep saying Black Glasses. I'm not Black Glasses, I'm Dreadplate. The shift from 84 Dreadplate to 236 Sucker Punch, it was just a huge increase. Like, Kyogre's, just their Water Spouts did nothing anymore after the Sucker Punch. It was insane. But yeah, like, I shifted immediately to Life of Yveltal going into Moon because of that one Lunala calc, and it was just so strong. So I didn't want the Z move on Yveltal. Like at the very beginning, I tried the Z Yveltal, and it was like, oh, Z Foul Play can Oko Amoonguss, that's going to be really good for my team. But then Life Orb was just the best. And Excadrill with the Choice Band, like, Excadrill was also a consideration for the Z move as well, because Z Tectonic Rage is good. But it's not Z Tectonic Rage, it's Z Earthquake, which is Tectonic Rage, and Corkscrew Crash as well for Xerneas. But the Choice Band was just absolutely correct. Serperior has been considered for the Z move user for a while as well, but I can't not be Wide Lens. 9% for a Bloom Doom, like, is that worth it? It probably objectively is, but I can't change from that. Sash needed to be on Salazzle. I did test Poisonium and Fire him at one point, but it needed Sash. So I'm pretty sure that last slot needed to be the Z-Move user. So I did try a few things. For some reason I tried an Archeops, because Z Sky Attack was what I went with, because that Oko'd Amoonguss, that probably Oko'd to Amoonguss. And that was quite funny, because that also helped with the Ground on Venusaur still, because I've still got Fake Out into Tailwind, which is a good enough answer against Ground on Venusaur. I also tried Z Bounce Gyarados as well, because I'm still at this point focusing on Amoonguss. So like that was a lot worse than it should have been in theory. Like, again, it put Intimidate onto the team, which reduced the foul play damage. Like, the typing was really good of Gyarados. Like, what was it? Waterfall, Bounce, Icy Wind, and Roar, I think I had on the Gyarados. And, like, that's a good set. And I really liked the Gyarados back in 2016 that I had on my Worlds team. It was effectively that with Z Bounce over Thunder Wave. But, yeah, again, it wasn't correct. But then here we are. We finally arrived at Cairns. I tried out Kommo-o. At this point, it was Overcoat. this was like I had this Kommo-o before the Oceania International. So with Overcoat, it was really good against ground enemies. So like it didn't need Tailwind to just fake out Clang. They can't Sleep Powder you. You're in a really good position because the Sludge Bomb doesn't do that much after a Clang. Grass Knot does nothing. So like you're like Overcoat is really good against ground Venusaur. But then Oceania happened. We had those 2 Stack Attacks in the final. Like I was sure that Stack Attacker was going to pick up even more than it had done before, and I did have the Excadrill on the team, but that wasn't enough on its own, because like they can just switch around Incineroars, they can fake out. Excadrill's obviously weak to Incineroars. Kommo-o is absolutely not. So I did shift from Overcoat to Bulletproof, mainly as a meta call. I think maybe Overcoat is still best for the team, but going into Can, it was a meta call of Stack Attacker is going to be super popular, so Bulletproof will be better over the tournament than Overcoat will. That was not correct, because I don't think I got Gyro Balled once with this Kommo-o, and I did get Spored. I got Spored once. I could have avoided that because I was in a winning position, and I could have made plays to avoid revealing that I was Overcoat by Geomancy instead of attacking the Amoonguss. It was in the red with my Xerneas, so I did reveal I was Overcoat, but like I didn't get significantly Spored or Sleep Powdered, and I didn't get Gyro Ball. So I think ultimately the ability didn't matter on the Kommo-o, but that's what I went with for Cans. That was the meta call. Ends up getting third with this team. Probably give the brief overview of the tournament here. What did I face? Round 1 I faced an XY Heatran team, and the Heatran was Firium and outsped my Excadrill, and that was really bad. And I think I won game 1 reasonably comfortably, and then game 2 I won on a crit, I think. It was pretty much, if I say the standard XY, well, you know what I mean. Like, what was it, Incineroar, Finny, something, Amoonguss, something. But he had a Heatran, and that changed things, but then, like, I stole one of the games with the crit. Round 2, I faced Tornoga, and that one I did get lucky as well. I got a double protect into an Origin Pulse Miss. Like, I had seen, like, because he had Tailwind, I saw, like, 4 turns into the future what had to happen for me to win at that point, and it was like I needed a double protect, and then I needed an Origin Pulse Miss, and I played for that and then got it. So, like, I did get lucky, but I also recognized, like, way far in advance that I had to go for that, and some people don't go for those. Like, they try and avoid having to go for a double protect, even though, because in that position it was, like, 3 turns before what needs to happen, I could see that I needed the double protect, and like that's one of the things that you need to be able to recognize when you have to go for the RNG, and I went for it and got it. Round 3, this is quite difficult because this was a while ago. This was like a month ago. Round 3, can't remember round 3 or round 4. I know I faced a standard Volcarona at one point. It was either round 4 or 5. And I made a really nice play in one of them where his Volcarona was in red, and I could have Sucker Punched it and stopped him from overheating my Excadrill when he had his Geomancy Xerneas, but instead I protected the Yveltal as he protected the Volcarona, and I just Iron-Headed the Xerneas and KO'd it, so that was a really nice play. I lost to Michele Gavelli, and that was round 5, so the Volcarona must have been round 4. So Michele was round 5, and what happened there? Because it went to game 3, and that one I actually ended up choking. Like I don't think I've choked like an actual choke for quite a while. Like I misplayed for sure, but an actual choke, because I made a super hard read of knocking off his Kyogre as it switched to Amoonguss, because I was in a position where I either have to protect a Yveltal from a Water Spout or Sucker Punch, expecting him to stay in. But then I realized that because those were my 2 options, him switching to Kyogre into Amoonguss was, if I was making either of those 2 plays, was really safe for him. So then I made the hard read, knocked off the Amoonguss, and almost KO'd it. But then I ended up what did I could still Geomancy with my Xerneas. I was down to a Veltal and Xerneas, and then I could have just knocked off the Amoonguss and Geomancied, and the game is just absolutely over. But for some reason, I knock off his Amoonguss and Moonblast KO his Incineroar, giving him the free switch back into his Scarf Kyogre. I think it was because he faked out my Xerneas that turn as I clicked Geomancy, and for some reason in my mind it said, I am already Geomancied, so I just win. But I wasn't Geomancied, and then I ended up choking that game by not clicking Geomancy. He came in, Origin Pulse won, which is a bit unfortunate. Round 6, I faced... What did I face? It was an XL team. I think it was identical to the XL team I faced in top 8 of Bolzano, but I ended up winning that one. His Tapu Koko was Assault Vested to be able to live my +2 Moonblast, and that screwed me in game 2, because he was able to Electro Web, which was crucial. But I think game 1 and game 3 were pretty comfortable. And then round 7 I faced a Solgaleo Kyogre team. Can't remember if it had Tornadus or not. I think it had Assaultless Koko as well. But Solgaleo Kyogre is a reasonable matchup for me, so I can't really remember too much of that happened there. I ended up winning that one quite comfortably, 2-0. So that was it. That was Swiss. Ended up qualifying, or top cutting, at 6-1. Faced Eveldon, but not Eveldon, with Xerneas over Eveltal in top 8. If you want to know what happened in that match, go and see Bartosz's team report. I think it was like something like bringing the drought to Kansas. I'll put it in the description. It was put on Trainer Tower, so if you want to see what happened in that match, go and see that. And then top 4, I faced Michele again, but he works out that Incineroar or Amoonguss, I can't really do anything against Tornoga if they lead Incineroar or Amoonguss, so he just absolutely bodies me in both games. So ended up losing in top 4, came 3rd in the tournament, was super happy with that because I hadn't top cut a regional for exactly a year before Cans, and not even a regional, like a major. Like I'd won MSSs and PCs, but it had been exactly a year since I'd done well at a regional or above, and I was super happy to get that. But yeah, was still thinking about this team for Bolzano. That's why I've been putting this off until now, but made a few more just slight adjustments. Kommo-o was fine. It did help with some matchups, but my main thought was Tornoga now, because when Michele led Incineroar Amoonguss, that like I've been thinking about it, and there was pretty much nothing I could do about that. Because like in game 1, it came down to like his dying like in the red Kyogre water spout being able to knock out my Excadrill in 2 shots with a +2 Dazzling Gleam, and like that was surprising. Like even though I thought I played really well in game 1, I still couldn't win because the rolls weren't in, like, I don't want to say it's rolls, like the calculations of what the damage did meant that I would lose, and I didn't think that would happen. But so yeah, I changed Kommo-o to back to Scarf Koko for a bit, because I didn't want to get spored. Brave Bird is pretty good against Amoonguss, even if it doesn't Oko. If you are not on a boosting item, it still does a lot of damage. But the Koko wasn't really correct. Like it was a little bit for Ho-Ohs as well, because Ho-Oh was popping up at this point, but they have Lightning Rod pretty often, so Koko isn't that great. I also tried Jinx. I brought Jinx to... there was a double MSS that I went to, and I brought Jinx to the first day, and I ended up getting 2nd in that one. That was a Psyche MZ Jinx with Z Trick Room. Because if you see, like, I didn't, like, outside of Glare, I didn't have speed control on my team, so... and my team, because my Xerneas was super bulky and my Excadrill was super bulky, like my team could make use of Trick Room. So it was what, Psychic, Fake Out, Lovely Kiss, and Trick Room. And also Z Trick Room gives you +1 accuracy, and that meant that Lovely Kiss was 100% accurate. So Jinx was really, really good against Tornoga, like really good, because they would always Tailwind as use Z Trick Room. Even if they taunt and use Z Trick Room, that goes through taunt, so you get your Trick Room up. It's like Z blew back the Amoonguss, so like Jinx was amazing against Tornoga, but I ended up losing, what was it, Necrozma Dust Main and Kyogre. That was what I lost to in the final of the MSS, because his Necrozma was EV to liver Life Orb Foul Play, which is a bit annoying, but if that's the case, then that changes the matchup against that quite badly. So I was looking at things, what could help with other matchups. And then I did end up with this Ditto. And this is it. This is it. We've finally reached the end. This is Bolzano. This is what I brought to Bolzano. So, if you have a look at like teams like Tornoga, anything on that team, if you copy it with Ditto, is good against that team. Like Amoongus, even if you copy Amoongus, it spores things because they can't stop it. And you get the clear smogs and the grass knots onto the Kyogre and Xerneas. If you copy Incineroar, you just fake out or you U-turn out. If you copy their Tornadoes, you match Tailwinds. If you copy Kyogre, you can Thunder them and resist their Water Spout. If you copy Xerneas, obviously everyone knows how good that was. So like Ditto was really good against Tornoga. And it still helped with loads of other matchups. Like Ho-Oh, I still only have Eveltal to hit it. I don't count Rock Slide from Excadrill because they'll just burn me. But I only really had Eveltal to hit it. But then suddenly, I could copy their Kyogre and Water Spout on their Ho-Oh. And I could switch in on their Raichu and absorb all the nuzzles that would put my Eveltal slower than their Ho-Ohs. Like, Ditto was... For some reason, Ditto seemed to solve loads of my bad matchups. And I don't know why it did, but it just ended up solving loads of bad matchups. I don't want to say I regret running the item I did on Ditto, but because I've been saying, like, that slot is probably the Z-move mon. It made sense, I think, to put the item on it that I did. You may have already worked out what it is, or if you saw on Twitter, you know what it is, but I'll save that as a surprise for the people that don't know when I get to the mons, because we're finally there. I'll talk about the tournament run after I talk about the spreads, because you probably want to get to the spreads if you haven't seen my cam prep, because it's been a while. Oh yeah, I made a slide to say that's what I brought to Cans. That's what I brought to Bolzano. So, yeah, finally, move on to Xerneas. So the top spread is what I brought to Cans. The bottom spread is what I brought to Bolzano. The moves are standard. Sub is bad. Don't use sub. Like, I get it. You stop spores, you stop clear smogs, but you need spread. I've never not considered running those 4 moves. But the EV spread, I think, is the most unique thing. For some reason, people thought that Timid Xerneas was the best in Sun and Moon. Like, I don't get it. We worked out in 16 that bulky Xerneas was just clearly the best Xerneas. Like, you can take eruptions from Groudons off, like, before you Geomancy if you're bulky, because you underspeed them. But the bulk let you live just so many things, and people's logic of, I want to at least speed tie with Xerneas, are just going to lose so many games because they lose the speed tie with Xerneas. And they're going to get KO'd to so many things. If you just accept that you're going to lose the speed tie, then you just bring all this bulk available to Xerneas. And I don't know why people still kept running Timid Xerneas. Like, I get the reasoning of you want to Geomancy before Menacing Moraze Maelstrom. And maybe I'm a bit biased because I have an Eveltal on the team that really helps with that. But I've just won so many more games by having bulk on Xerneas than I have of their Xerneas outspeeding my Xerneas. Because, like, if you're playing in a way that you're both going for Geomancies, let's see what happens if I Moonblast things now, then you're playing Xerneas wrong. Xerneas is not supposed to be a Xerneas counter. Like, it doesn't work like that. You should play in a position where you just get a Geomancy to put you in a good position, rather than to match a Geomancy. Like, it just seems so obvious to me, and I don't know why there was just all the Timid Xerneas, but I liked winning, so I'm glad that they did. But yeah, this Xerneas could take the +2 Moonblast from Timid Xerneas. It could take 2 Moonblasts if you match the Geomancies. But I Oko them back if they haven't Geomancied, or I 2-shot them back if they have Geomancied. So, like, I win the trade-off. Like, rather than going for the 50-50 speed tie, why not go for the 100%? Well, I guess it's not 100% because the Moonblast special attack drops, but if no Moonblast special attack drops, then I 2-shot them, they 3-shot me, even though they move first, I win. So it's just makes so much sense to be bulky. And like going into Ultra as well, I like surely people realize quickly, because it's similar, like the most similar to 16 now, I guess, because the Megas are back. Surely people realize that bulky Xerneas is the best. It just is. Like, and like so on the defensive side, I live a Solgaleo Sunsteel Strike. Obviously they have Searing Sunray Smash now, but if they burnt that into something else, like they often Searing my Eveltal if they get into position to be able to, then it was just nice to be able to take that. And yeah, the special attack as well also let me KO opposing stack attacker at +2, like with a +2 Moonblast and also a Salazzle Overheat. That was the main benchmark I went for, because you only need 12 special attack to be able to OHKO No Bulk Xerneas with your Moonblast. But this one, because of the extra special attack I had for the stack attacker, that also meant that I OHKO'd the Water Spout surviving Xerneas as well. So that was really nice insurance as well, because like no one seemed to be bulkier than that. So it was really nice just being able to OHKO those Xerneas. And like, what else did I have here? Oh yeah, because I can easily survive a Mystic Water Spout Kyogre in the rain. Because the Mystic Water is supposed to throw off all the Water Spout surviving calcs, because then it OHKOs those things. But then I just lived the Water Spout. So I don't think Water Spout was that common in Moon. It was definitely common in Sun. But yeah, this Xerneas, like maybe not just this Xerneas, but bulky Xerneas was just correct, and no one realized it. So I just capitalized off it. So it was the Xerneas. Move on to the Yveltal now. It's just very slightly different from what was in my cans prep. I think a few things, like I tweaked some things very last minute before cans. This was one of the things. I saw the Water Spouts calc from Kyogre was 31% chance to OHKO if I was 12 HP, and 18% chance to OHKO if I was 12 special defense instead. Because the attack investment, I couldn't go lower than that because I wanted the knockoff to still have a nice 3% chance to OHKO Lunalas, so because that was the big thing. The shift from Black Glasses to Life Orb was because of the Lunalas, but the increase in damage was just absolutely ridiculous. Like I'm almost a little bit sad I didn't try Life Orb even in Sun, even though I could just OHKO Lunalas back then with Dreadplate. But yeah, it also, like, the Life Orb also let me be able to deal with Amoonguss a lot better, because the knockoff now just does so much damage. It let it be able to KO Amoonguss in combination with things like a Salazzle Sludge Bomb, of all things. In case they were Occa Berry, you could Sludge Bomb the Amoonguss and then knock them off. +2 Dazzle into knockoff, now OHKO Amoonguss, so like it changed a lot of things. Because I did consider the Z-Foul play as the one-shot on Amoonguss, but then the knockoff and something else being able to OHKO the Amoonguss was really nice. Yeah, like the Life Orb was just so good. If I continue using a Yveltal in Ultra, I don't know if I would still use Life Orb. Like, that was what was the most common in 16, but I do think I'm going to be trying out Yveltal in 16. It's really won me over from this XY team. This team as it is, I don't think it's going to be that great in Ultra, and even if I try and adapt this team into Ultra like I did my old 16 team into this, maybe after many iterations, but I don't know if this can really work in Ultra, but we'll see. It's a pretty standard Yveltal. It's just got the tiniest bit of optimization for Water Spout, but it was really nice. Like, I really like this Yveltal, but let's move on now to the more interesting Pokemon, I would say. If you've seen my can prep, you probably already heard what I'm gonna say about all these things, because I explained the EV spreads back then, but I'm gonna repeat them for the people that didn't watch the can prep. Basically, when I first put the Excadrill on the team, it had 252 speed, because then that hit 140 speed, and that outsped Smeargle. Because my theory originally going in was, when I first put the Excadrill on the team, was my game plan against XL is lead Salazzle Xerneas with Yveltal Steel type in the back. So that was the many iterations of the Steel type. And now that Excadrill is the Steel type, because I'm bringing it against XL, which very commonly has Smeargle, surely I want Excadrill to outspeed that Smeargle so I don't get Lovely Kissed. But then, when I thought about it more, I actually ended up working out that they would either lead Smeargle against me, and then I would fake out the Smeargle and then just kill it with the Xerneas with both Geomancy, but then I killed the Smeargle. So then I can just come in with the Excadrill really safely and Iron Head. In that case, I don't need to outspeed the Smeargle. They never left the Smeargle in the back, which means that whenever my Excadrill came in, because it was always left in the back, I would never have to worry about outspeeding their Smeargle then. And then, when I realised that let me just take all the speed out of the Excadrill. There was just so much unnecessary speed, because from Smeargle to there's the Ludicolo's in the middle. There's Timid Ludicolo, which is very uncommon. There's Modest Ludicolo, but I don't really want to be facing a Ludicolo with Excadrill on this team. And then there's like I guess there's -1 Kartana, which is 119, but that was a bit too fast for what I wanted after I did some calcs. And then there's like speed creeping the Careful Don, depending on how fast those Careful Dons wanted to speed creep. And I think in the cam prep I had 44 speed on my Excadrill. I think I had that was what I had back then, because this spread is just very slightly altered from there. But then I got Center Paced with a Groudon that had the same speed as my Excadrill, and my plan for that speed was to speed creep like pretty much every bulky Groudon there was. And as soon as I saw that there was a Groudon that had been built to speed tie with it hadn't been built to speed tie with my Excadrill, but it ended up being the same speed as my Excadrill, I wanted that extra bit of creep. So I think I took 8 out of attack and 8 out of defense, and added that extra bit of creep, so I had more insurance against the against outspeeding the Groudons. The attack investment, it still hit the 11N, so because I was 1 above 11N at that point, so it still hit that, and that still let me OHKO things like the Xerneas, the Water Spout surviving Xerneas. It still one-shot that with Iron Head. It still one-shot Incineroar if I switched in on them rather than them switching in on me, so I could OHKO them, and it also like just easily bodies stack attackers, because that was one of the main things. Being able to OHKO Xerneas and being able to OHKO stack attacker, I don't think there's really much in the game that can do that, so I was really happy with this Excadrill. And because I'd taken out all the speed, I could now put it into bulk, because one of the things that I had theoried with this team, if they led something like Incineroar stack attacker, because I'm leaving Excadrill in the back, and then I leave with like Salazzle something, anything, but I need to get my Excadrill in against them. And my obvious play is to fake out the stack attacker and switch in my Excadrill with the other thing. But like, say that works in game 1, because that, like, if they don't, if they just leave the Incineroar in and don't U-turn, then I can just Earthquake double KO the Incineroar and the stack attacker because I'm not intimidated. But say that works in game 1 and it's still the play in game 2, like even if they know it's the play, because they know it's the play, they could Flare Blitz that Excadrill switch in, and if they just OHKO the Excadrill like that, then I'm in such a bad position because I can't do it with stack attacker anymore. So because I dropped the speed from the Excadrill and I can now put it into bulk, I made it so that Excadrill could live a Flare Blitz from Incineroar. So that even if I switched in the Excadrill and they predicted the switch and got the Flare Blitz into the Excadrill, I would still live and be able to Earthquake double KO. Like, that was my theory with the Excadrill, and the bulk just ended up being just amazing on this Excadrill. Like, it just became so bulky because it's got what, 110 or something HP, so it's got very reasonable bulk. But everyone runs Excadrill, well, at least when the sand was available. I guess it technically was, and I did theory Tyranitar a little bit, but when, like, on the normal sand stuff back in non-GS formats, it would be like Sash Excadrill, because for some reason it was too frail. But because it had so much high HP, and because I had so many EVs available for bulk, it just, like, it became so bulky. Like, and its typing was absolutely fantastic as well. Like, there were some teams that couldn't really deal with Excadrill very well at all. Like Standard XL, if they can't MMM my Excadrill, there was nothing that could OHKO it. So I could always get a super powerful attack off. It was really nice. I have Stomping Tantrum over Drill Run because of accuracy. Stomping Tantrum is pretty much identical in power to Spread Earthquake, so all the calcs remain the same as Earthquake. I didn't need the extra power to OHKO Incineroar, I didn't need it to OHKO Stack Attacker, and I really like, well, two things. I really liked the 100% accuracy, because that's one of the big things with this team. It's very accurate. The team is very accurate. Xerneas is 100%, Veltal is 100%. If you discount Rock Slide, like, I've clicked it maybe once or twice ever, you click the top 3 almost all the time, so pretty much Excadrill is 100% accurate. Serperior is 99% accurate, which is close enough. Like, it's pretty much just Salazzle's Overheat that is the issue. Because when I can, I want the consistency of accuracy. And also, some of the nice things, Fake Out into Excadrill happens a reasonable amount of time. And if they do that, double power stomping tantrum. No one thinks about the double power stomping tantrum because they bring in the Incineroar. I'm at -1. They fake out the Excadrill and they think they're safe, even if they know I'm banded. Surely -1 banded Excadrill can't OHKO Incineroar, and then they're just blown back by the double power stomping tantrum. It's really good. It's way better than Drill Run. I would never run Drill Run over stomping tantrum. The special defense on it lets it live 2 Dazzling Gleams from Xerneas, so that was a really nice benchmark as well to hit with the bulk. I'm so happy with this Excadrill. I guess I should mention as well, Mold Breaker goes through Wonder Guard. It was another way to hit Shedinja. I guess there's technically Rock Slide, but if I'm locking into something, I don't want to have to lock into Rock Slide. I want to being able to hit Shedinja just normally as well is really nice. But yeah, this Excadrill was just absolutely fantastic, and I'm pretty sure like if Sun and Moon was still going on, people would still just disregard this Excadrill as a Boyty mon, and like, oh, only Boyt uses that. It's not a good mon. Like, this is a fantastic Pokemon. The choice band just made it so good. Like, Assault Vest was so wrong. Choice band Excadrill was just absolutely amazing, and I'm quite sad that Ultra is not the place for this Excadrill, and I'm going to be very sad to see it go, because it's been absolutely fantastic for me. But speaking of being fantastic for me, another Pokemon that people are disregarding. I don't know why. It popped up, in one top cut. What was it? Carl Livinghouse used Salazzle. Did anyone else use Salazzle? I barely saw this Pokemon. Everyone just used Incineroar instead. Like, you just default to the Incineroar as the Fire Fake Out mon, when Salazzle is just amazing in GS Cup. It's so good. Like, I've been using Salazzle since middle of 2018 when I was running Kommo-o, and it was really good on that Kommo-o team, and I just kept it going through Sun and Moon, and it was still amazing, and no one believes me that, like, Salazzle is just better than Incineroar. Like, maybe it's just the teams I build, but Salazzle is just better than Incineroar. But here we go. Focus Sash. It needs the Focus Sash. It's frail as hell. Like, you can't not have the Focus Sash, in my opinion. There was that like fake outless Life Orb one that was on a team before, and I understood the Life Orb on there, but like this team absolutely needs the Focus Sash. And you may think it's strange. Like again, if you've seen the cam prep, you know what I'm going to say. But you may think that it's strange that on a Focus Sash Pokemon you don't just have 252, 252, because surely the bulk doesn't matter if you're Focus Sash. But yes, this bulk absolutely matters. When you take the 16 out of special attack, it doesn't change the two important calcs of overheat on overheat onto Amoonguss. The damage rolls don't change. The damage rolls also don't change when you Sludge Bomb a Xerneas. So those 16 special attack, like those are the two key ones. They're in general going to be unnecessary. The speed as well. Like, below Salazzle, there's Whimsicott, which is Prankster, so it doesn't really matter. Below that, Mega Rayquaza is not a thing yet. So it's what? Amber Pom and Sneasel. I ran Sneasel at Regional, I guess that counts. But you're only losing really speed ties with other Salazzle, and no one was using Salazzle, so I was fine dropping the speed. And also, even if I faced a Salazzle, I know that I underspeed them, they fake out, and I just on-call them. I turn one on-call them because I know that I'm pretty sure I'm slower. So then, even though they get the fake out, they're locked into fake out themselves, and then I'm in a good position. But taking those unnecessary 16 speed EVs and those unnecessary 16 special attack EVs and putting them into special defense changes the role of +2 Moonblast and +2 Dazzling Gleam into Salazzle from I think it's a 40% chance to KO to a 4% chance to KO, and that is just a huge decrease for what, 36 well, I guess 32 EVs that were unnecessary in speed and special attack. That was so important, because if they can't Moonblast and Dazzling Gleam to KO the Salazzle, they have to double Moonblast the Salazzle to KO it, and that means that usually my Xerneas has not taken damage because they're trying to support their Xerneas, but then they have to double Moonblast my Salazzle, and I'm at full HP and I'm still super bulky and I still take +2 Moonblasts. So like, that extra bulk was super significant, and I'm really pleased that I went and looked at those EVs and worked out that the special defense was necessary, because it's absolutely necessary. Like, I'm sad that now that Mega Rayquaza is the thing that I will need to go back up to max speed, because like the extra special defense is really, really good and changed so many things. I do kind of wish that you could run Flamethrower on Salazzle, but you just absolutely need Overheat. There's so many calculations where you need Overheat for. Flamethrower is too weak. Like, it's as strong as Sludge Bomb, and Sludge Bomb is enough, but the things that Sludge Bomb are hitting, it is strong enough for. Like, my main plan against a Xerneas Amoonguss lead, even though you didn't see that game 1 of top 8 in cans, because I expected my opponent to have done his homework and work out that my play was to Sludge Bomb and Moonblast the Xerneas turn 1, because they can't protect and Spore, because like my obvious target is Fake Out Amoonguss. They can't Rage Powder, because if I Fake Out the Xerneas, then they're screwed. So they have to Spore and Geomancy, which means that they're not Rage Powdering, which means I can Sludge Bomb before their Geomancy. They'll always Geomancy before me because they're always timid like an idiot, and then even at +2 special defense, I can Moonblast KO them, because they're down to, what, 30%? And even if they had some bulk and could live, there's still a Sludge Bomb poison chance. Even if they do live, they're in Sucker Punch range now. Like the Sludge Bomb was strong enough for Xerneas, which is the main thing it's hitting. But Overheat, it had to be Overheat. Like I've already mentioned, like the +2... Moonblast into Overheat KOs. Stack Attacker, Flamethrower had absolutely no chance. Things like Amoonguss, +2000 Gleam into non-Ockerberry Amoonguss, Amoonguss, Flamethrower couldn't. So it does need to be Overheat. The reduction in special attack doesn't really matter too often. It's just the accuracy. Like it's like I said, if you ignore Rock Slide, that's the only real inaccurate move on the team. And I've lost significant amount of games from missing Overheat. That is the sad thing. But Encore is really good. Encore is so good on this Salazzle. I've been using Encore even back in the Kommo-o team, but they lead Incineroar, you lead Salazzle. We trade Fake Outs, and now they're always going to Fake Out. Because you just Encore them. Like, so many people trade Fake Outs and then try and U-turn against my Salazzle. And why would you do that? Why would you let yourself get locked into Fake Out? Why would you even lead Incineroar and try and trade Fake Outs? Why don't you leave Incineroar on the back and bring in this Incineroar on the Salazzle? And then you're not trading Fake Outs. Like, Encore has just been such a good move. I've considered things like Taunt, although I do have it on the Serperior, so that doesn't really matter. I've considered other things as well, but just Encore is amazing. Like Encoring people into Fake Outs, Encoring them into Protects, things like Crobat. Like, I'm pretty sure Baz was saying at one point, one iteration of my team, that Crobat is an issue, and it's just not, because you Encore them turn 1, because, like, who cares if they can't be faked out? They're going to Tailwind, and now they're Encored, and now that slot is useless. Things like Tornadus, before they became Z, I guess. In Sun, I was Encoring Tornadus all the time into Tailwind, but then with Moon, they could still Super Sky Strike through the Encore, which wasn't as good, but Encore is just absolutely fantastic on this Salazzle. I've been using this Salazzle, like, for so long. I guess not the special defense EV, like it was 252 back in the Kommo-o days. I should say as well, Hasty over Timid, because there is a slight increase in Fake Out damage on things, and I think one of the things I saw was, because at one point someone kept leading Groudon Volcarona against me on the Volcarona team when I was practicing on Showdown, and I went for Fake Out, and then Sun boosted Overheat into his Volcarona, and it did not KO. So then I had a look at the calculations, and it turned out that if I was Hasty instead of Timid, Hasty Fake Out into Sun boosted Overheat would KO the Volcarona, and Timid was rolls. So then I shifted to Hasty. Like the Focus Sash is there, the bulk doesn't matter, the extra defensive bulk didn't help with anything. I think the main thing was, I think Fake Out into Knockoff could get me. It was something silly, Incineroar, I think, that Timid was better for over Hasty, but like in general, the extra Fake Out chip. As well against Michele in game 2 in the top 4 cans, I faked out his Amoonguss and then went for Overheat and Overheat into an Ockerberry and Clanger of Soul Blaze, and his Amoonguss lived on 2 apparently. I was told it was 2 HP, and if I was Timid in cans, I was Hasty in Bolzano because I worked out the Volcarona thing. But then if I was Hasty Salazzle, I would have KO'd his Amoonguss, and the game could have been different. Yeah, Hasty is better because you're Focus Sash. And Oblivious is better than Corrosion. Corrosion is absolutely useless because you don't run Toxic. It doesn't count for Sludge Bomb. I would love it if Corrosion was poison moves could hit steel types rather than you can poison steel types. Because if I could Sludge Bomb steel types, that would be lovely. But that's not the case, and Oblivious has come into play a few times. People have tried to taunt the Salazzle to stop Encores onto their Pokemon, and that's not happened. So Oblivious is just slightly better than Corrosion, because Corrosion is useless. Oblivious can do things. It's very rare, but it still can do things. But here we go. Serperior. My Pokemon. Serperior belongs to me. It's no one else's. I've cut with Serperior more than anyone else. Like, this is my Pokemon now. It's technically Cottony as well, but Serperior is now my Pokemon. Still pretty much the same as the Malmo win, but Glare is over Swagger. Like, when I started with the Serperior, I did have Leaf Storm, Glare, Taunt, and Swagger. I didn't have Protect, and then I got rid of the Swagger, like I said earlier. That I got rid of it pretty quickly, and went with Protect as well. Protect was important on the Serperior. Even when I played around with the Grass Pledge, Water Pledge on that Primarina version, I had Grass Pledge over Protect, but yeah, I did. Like, it's correct. Taunt is still really good. Stopping things like Amoonguss Spores. It's really good. It's like, everyone knows what Taunt does, and it's got a really good speed tier as well, so it outspeeds a lot of things. But Glare is the big one. Glare is, like, people have kind of forgotten about Paralysis. I guess there's a few Nuzzling Togedemaros, and there's going to be a lot more Nuzzling Togedemaros in Ultra, but people have forgotten about Paralysis because it's mainly Thunder Wave, and the nerf to accuracy and the nerf to speed reduction has put people off, but it's still a very good stasis condition. Like, 25% chance not to move as well, like, not even factoring the speed drop. It's a really good status condition, and Glare can also hit ground types that Thunder Wave can't, so you can paralyze things like Groudon. Things like Landorus, like, it's really good, and Glare was super important in the Scarf Kyogre matchup, like, really important. Like, I could Leaf Storm them, but being able to Glare them first and then Leaf Storm them was definitely much better. Being able to Glare Xerneas, like, I could Taunt a Xerneas, and then I could Glare it. Either option was good against stopping the Geomancy. Like, Glare would let them Geomancy, but then if they don't, I'm in a really good position. If I Taunt them, then they would, can't Geomancy in the first place, but they could Moonblast on that turn. So I've got a couple of mind games with the Glare and Taunt on Xerneas, but Glare was a fantastic move. Just because I didn't have any other speed control on this team outside of the variations when I had Tailwind. I guess I had it on Staraptor and I brought that to a tournament, but like, Glare was really good speed control. Putting things slower than my Veltal to be able to just knock them off. Being able to put things like Scarf Kyogre slower than my Xerneas, like I said with the Serena Kyogre lead. Being able to put them slower than my Xerneas so I could Geomancy before they could hit me on the special side. It was really good. Like, really, really good. And pretty much no other usable Pokemon get Glare. Like, with Zygarde, you've got a Finny, so Glare is pretty silly there. And none of the other snakes are very good. Serperior is the best snake. But like I said in Malmo, and I'm saying now, and I've said previously in this report, I can't ever change from Wildlands. I don't think I could ever change from Wildlands. I tried Grassing just a little bit, and I was already just so scared whenever I click Leaf Storm. The Wildlands just gives me so much security. 99% accurate is obviously not 100% accurate. Like, it still can miss. 1% can happen. But from Malmo to right now, I've missed one Leaf Storm ever with this Wildlands. And really funnily as well, I just went on to Battle Spot the day of Can, because I woke up at 5 AM or something, because my sleep schedule was just way off because of having to get up early to travel. So then I just went on Battle Spot with my Can team, and I missed my Leaf Storm in that game. And because it was funny as well, I was talking to Baz and Keen and that, and saying, I've never missed the Wildlands Leaf Storm up until that point, and then literally the next Leaf Storm I click, I missed. But I took that as a sign I was going to do well in Cans, because I got that Leaf Storm miss out the way before the tournament, and then I'll hit them all in the tournament. And that is the only time I've ever missed Leaf Storm. And I've clicked Leaf Storm definitely more than 100 times with this Serperior, and I've only ever missed once. I've practiced. I didn't practice too much after Malmo
with the Serperior, but I practiced a bit before. I never missed it in 2018. And 2019, I've used this team, or at least the beginning of this team, since November. And it's, the end of March now. So that's, a bit more than 4 months of playing with this Serperior, and I've miscleaved so much. I can't change from Wildlands. Like, I miss Overheat too much to want to change from Wildlands to something else. Like, I thought Cobra Berry, at least in Sun, was definitely... like, this is objectively better, but Cobra Berry would have been really good on Serperior. It would have helped a lot against Tornoga. I've considered the Gracium as well. I've even, like, Super Berry as well, or even Citrus Berry. Like, surely are objectively better than Wildlands and Serperior, but I can't deal with that. I ran High Jump Kick all of 2017. I run Overheat on my Salazzle. I can't deal with it, and it has to be Wildlands. And like I said in the malware report, it's not just like missing Overheats or missing High Jump Kick that's doing some damage. You're missing your setup. Leaf Storm is like a nasty plot for Spirit. You can't afford to just whiff a setup move. I'm very adamant about this. I'm sure you're already tired of me hearing about the Wildlands, but like I can't change from Wildlands. I should probably say some stuff about the bulk, I guess. I think I remember what I AV'd it to live. It was slightly different for this in Sun. I think I had like 120, 124 HP, 100 special attack, and 28 special defense or something in Sun. That is something. Like, it's been a while since I made the spread, so I've had to try and remember what it did. And I think it survives Feint and Ice Beam from Serena and Kyogre respectively. I think that looks like that's what I AV'd it for. And it also 2 shots, factoring in the +2 boost, 2 shots and no bulk Xerneas with Leaf Storm. That rarely comes into play, but and it also at +2 ends up OHKOing a Groudon that's built to survive +2 Move Blast as well. So that's what the EVs did. We're nearing the end. Got to deal with this Kommo-o first because I brought it to cans, and then we'll get to the Ditto, and almost done. Almost made it through. I still need to talk about Bolzano as well, don't I? Because I talked about cans, so I probably should talk about Bolzano, but we're almost through. So, Kommo-o, yeah, like I said, the shift to Bulletproof was just a meta-call. Didn't end up mattering at all. Probably should be Overcoat. But this was like the main stack attack counter, because Excadrill, while it could be a stack attacker counter, couldn't be as reliable as this Kommo-o, because even if I get intimidated, they can't touch me. Like, Rock Slide does nothing. Rock Slide does figuratively nothing. Gyro Ball does literally nothing. So this was a much better stack attacker counter. I'm not going to say that Pokemon's name again because he's getting twisted. Yeah, like this, like I did appreciate this Kommo-o. The Dragon typing is good. Like, forget Xerneas because not every team has a Xerneas. The Dragon typing is good, mainly because it resisted Kyogre Water Spout, which was something I kind of lacked on the team. Like, I had Serperior and that was it. So having a second resist was nice. And because the Z-move was available, and I used that stupid Assault Vest Kommo-o back in Sun, just slapping the Z-move on made sense for Kommo-o. The attack was so that it could OHKO that Pokemon that I said I'm not going to say anymore. It couldn't OHKO Incineroar at neutral, but it didn't really need to because you're an Incineroar counter as well. Like, they can't do anything to you. They could Snarl you because I'm not Soundproof, even though Soundproof was the best ability in 18. It's not in 19. Like, Bulletproof and Overcoat just so much better. But I did have, I think on the practice in cans, I had a lot more HP and a lot less special attack, but I shifted to a lot more special attack because I just thought that was probably better, because you're going to be wanting to do much more damage. You're going to get +1 defenses, so you'll probably be bulky enough anyway. I think I'd lived like +2 Precipice Blades or something from Groudon. I think it was, like, with the extra bulk that I had. But now I've gone down to just surviving a +1 special defense, Dazzling Gleam from Tapu Lele. I end up living a no special attack Finny, which none of them should be, because it should be pure support as well. A +1 that is. Although I'm probably not bringing Kommo-o to Finny. But I did toy around with Rock Tomb over Substitute. for a while on the Kommo-o, because it was just another way to hit Ho-Ohs. It made it give me another way of speed control, which ended up being quite nice when I tested it. But because I got rid of Overcoat on Kommo-o, I thought that sub made sense, because then it helped it be the Among Us counter that it was with Overcoat, because you just sub on the Spore and then you're fine. And I'm pretty sure at +1 special defense they can't break your sub with Clear Smog. So like the Kommo-o was really nice. I did like it. It wasn't correct for the team though. Like it was good on the team, but it wasn't correct. And for some reason Ditto was correct, and I don't know why Ditto was correct, but it was so good. And the Z move was available. I didn't want it on any of the other 5, so here we go. I've got a Fairy MZ Ditto. In practice, it happens not that often that I would be able to Twinkle Tackle with Xerneas, but when it did happen, it was hilarious, because at +2, if you copy their Xerneas that's Geoed, you Oko them with Twinkle Tackle when you've got the Geomancy boost, which is hilarious. And when you've got the Geomancy boost, Twinkle Tackle is an absolute nuke. Like, not even just against the Xerneas, like, because, like, if you think, like, Okoing a Xerneas through its special defense boost, like, not even on the defensive side, on the special defensive side after a Geomancy, that is an Oko. That is an absolute nuke that you don't have available to you. Even if you're Z Xerneas, I guess you could manually Geomancy and then Twinkle Tackle, but no one ever does that. They would go for a Z Geomancy, that's the point of it. But then +2 Twinkle Tackle is so strong. It does like 80% or something to Among Us. Like, it's insane. It Okos anything that doesn't resist it, which is really funny. I didn't end up pulling off the Ferium in any of the tournaments. I brought Ditto, so I did mention about that Jinx MSS. I brought Ditto to the second day and bubbled cut with 3-1. And that was the only time. Round 1, I'd copied a Xerneas, but my Ditto was on red, so it was going to die to their Xerneas, and it did come down. The game did come down to a speed tie, and if I won that speed tie, I was Twinkle Tackling his full HP Xerneas, and it was going to die. I was going to get KO'd because we're playing Pokemon. But then he won the speed tie, and it was so disappointing, because that was the only time in the tournament that I could have Twinkle Tackled, and I lost the speed tie. And yeah, and in Bolzano, I don't think I copied his Xerneas. I brought Ditto to so many games in Bolzano. It was so good in Bolzano. There was so many things it copied. But I didn't pull off the Ferium. Maybe it's like it's worth not even having a Z move on this team. Like, if I was going on in the future, I think I probably would just change Ditto to a Citrus or Super Berry and just have no Z move. Like because I was saying like how sad I was that I didn't think of Banded Excadrill in Sun. If I'd have brought that in Sun, and if I'd have thought of this Ditto in Sun and just had the berry, this would have been just the best Sun team. Like, people say that Ashton and Jeremy broke the Sun meta. If I'd have come up with Banded Excadrill and Ditto for this team in Sun, then I broke that meta open even further. Like, this team would have been so good in Sun, and I'm so glad, not glad, opposite of glad, so sad that I didn't think of the Banded Excadrill and Ditto in Sun, because it did take a while for Ditto to do something. Like, Can was its first, was it Ditto's first actual good performance? I think it was, because it was after Can's that I started thinking about Ditto, and then ended up putting it on the team. But yeah, like it was really good. I bought it to, I think, all but one set. No, not set. Yeah, it is set. I'm thinking of, because it's games individually. I bought it to all but one set in Bolzano. So like it wasn't just a bench filler like my Crabominable was in Frankfurt. Like, Ditto was amazing. There was one standout one that it copied. It copied a Stack Attacker. The Stack Attacker had got +2 defense as well, because it OHKO'd 2 of my things. But I got a Banded Stomping Tantrum onto its +2 defense before he KO'd my Excadrill with Volcarona. But then I OHKO'd his Volcarona with Rock Slide, and those were the last Pokemon. So then I got +3 defense against his +2 defense Stack Attacker, but I was at full HP, like full Ditto HP, and he was at half HP with his Stack Attacker. So we ended up having a Oceania final like Stack Attacker mirror, where we were just Rock Sliding and Gyro Balling. But because Ditto has less PP than it does when it transforms, because it has 5 PP of each. I was able to PP Soul myself and KO his stack attacker with struggle, and it was the best thing. Oh, I was so happy when I only struggled once. I got him down to the red, and then struggle KO'd him. But I won a game with struggle, and I find that hilarious. But Ditto was just so good in the tournament. Like, it was things like when they led, someone led Serena Kyogre, and I swapped in my Serena to copy, swapped in the Ditto to copy the Serena so that they couldn't feint my Yveltal and put it in range of the water spout, and then I got the knockoff onto Kyogre. I ended up losing that match. But like things like that was like the Ditto was just so good, and I just wish, I don't even wish that I had a different item. Like Farium Z made sense. The Z was available. But if I was going forward, I probably would go with a different item. The EVs don't really matter. If you have 252 HP Ditto, then it doesn't really matter what the rest of the stuff was. I find it was funny as well. Fevzi, who went 7-0 in Swiss of Bolzano as well, he also used Varium Ditto, which I thought was really funny. And when we were sat at the top cuts table, like I think I was waiting for hack checks, or was it on the... No, it was on the second... Yeah, on day 2, waiting for our DSs to come back. Yuri was explaining all these things about the EV spread of Ditto. He was saying, oh, yeah, you should be minimum speed so that if you both switch in Ditto and Incineroar at the same time, the Incineroar intimidates you, but then you copy them and you have a neutral Incineroar, and then they've got the -1/1. It's like, yeah, that's why I have min speed Ditto. And then he went on to say, oh, and yeah, this only matters if you have Snarl, but if you're max special defense Ditto, then you can survive a +1 Dazzling Gleam from Xerneas and then be able to transform. And it's like, okay, I don't have Snarl, but that is my EV spread. And I thought that was quite funny how he was sat next to me, or opposite me, explaining what the EV spread on Ditto should be, and I had that exact Ditto, which was really funny. The IVs were for HP Fire. If you copy a Venusaur, then you also have access to HP Fire. But that's the Ditto, that's the team. I'll give a brief overview of Bolzano now. If you've got all the important stuff, then feel free to switch off now, but I gave the overview of Cans, I'll give the overview of Bolzano. Round 1, I faced Solgaleo, Kyogre. They bodied me game 1 because they got Specs Kyogre into position with the Serena. Game 2, I adjusted by copying their Tornadus so I can match Tailwinds with Ditto. That was really nice. And then game 3, my Serperior ended up 1v1ing a Serena because it survived 2 U-turns and a feint into... it survived 2 U-turns and a feint, and KO'd the Serena back with +4 Leaf Storm into +6 Leaf Storm. So that was really nice. Round 2... What happened round 2? It's going to be where I forget. Like, even though it was like a few days ago, I'm going to forget everything. Round 3 was the one I lost, because that was Hoyoga, but with Serena and Jinx, and that just screws me up. So, but like, I've been thinking about it, and I would have faced that guy in top 4 if he had beaten Yuri, and I would have beaten Lorenzo, but like, I'm pretty sure I had no match up there. Round 4, I faced the Oceania winning team, and game 1 was like, that matchup is just so far in my favor, but then he ended up bringing it down to a speed tie between Yveltal and Xerneas. The knockoff, the Power Herb, or Geomancy first speed tie, and I won that speed tie. But the fact that he brought that down to that was really good from him, because not many people can take a game off me with the Oceania team. So it was pretty impressive that he brought it down to a speed tie. Faced Zekrom, Kyron White in the next round. Game 1 was pretty straightforward. I didn't even need to Geomancy with Xerneas. I just, he had a Lipard, and I faked it out with Salazzle and Dazzling Gleams, and it went, so that I didn't Geomancy in front of it to Encore him. But then game 2, he led Lipard again, and I expected him to switch because he had a Metagross, and I predicted him not to let me be just fake out and Dazzling Gleam again, because I can't Geomancy in front of the Lipard, so I'm not going to do that. So I expect him to switch to Metagross, and I overheat the Lipard just turn 1, and he switches into Metagross and it disappears, and then I just pretty much have all the momentum there. Round 6, up in round 6, I can remember round 7. Oh, round 6 was the XY team, but that had the Stack Attacker. That had the Stack Attacker mirror endgame with the Ditto. So that was quite funny. And then round 7, I faced Evoldon. Game 1 was quite comfortable for me. Game 2, he didn't bring Incineroar or Stack Attacker, which I obviously was correct, because I ended up in a position where I'd KO'd his Venusaur, and I Earthquake KO'd, like I brought an Excadrill, Earthquake myself, and Earthquaked his Groudon and Tapu Koko to KO them, and it's like, okay, there's no way it's a Veltal in the back. It has to be Incineroar or Stack Attacker to try and deal with my Venusaur, and like either one is fine, because single target Earthquake, even at -1, would get the Incineroar, and Stack Attack would go down, but then he ended up having a Veltal in the back, so then I just lost because I was choiced into Earthquake. And then game 3, got into a position where he had Koko and a Veltal left, and I had all 4 Pokemon, but then I sacrificed Excadrill and a Veltal on the same turn, so that I could get the free switch into 1 HP Salazzle and Xerneas in the back. I hadn't Geomancy, so I fake out the Koko and Geomancy with my Xerneas, and then I can Dazzling Gleam win, even if he tried to double protect and snarl me down, but it didn't work. So top cut there, and then went on stream for top 8. So I'm pretty sure that's still on YouTube, so I'll probably link that if I can find it in the description. I think it's going to be like a 4-hour long video rather than an individual one for me. So I'm the second game of Top Cuts. There was one Top Cut game for me, and then it's my game. So if you want to go and watch that, then feel free. But that was against XL, and I'm pretty comfortable against XL. But game 1, he just bodies me, because I expect him to, because he led Amoonguss Xerneas. That was the lead I expected, but I also was really, really scared that he had done his homework, and I expected him to have done his homework and know that I Sludge Bomb and Moonblast the Xerneas in that situation, so I expect him to protect and Spore, but then, so I just fake out the Amoonguss because I know it's Occa Berry as well, but he just Geomancies, and then because he's Occa Berry, I can't deal with the Amoonguss quickly enough, which let him Spore and gain momentum. So I lost game 1. Game 2, he leads Incineroar, Xerneas trying to catch me off guard with the Roar, and that's not ever going to work against me. With my Salazzle Xerneas lead, my play is always to fake out and Moonblast the Xerneas in case they've got Roar, because I don't need to Geomancy turn 1, because I can still just Moonblast and Sludge Bomb the Xerneas. I don't care about the Geomancy at that point. He ends up going for the Roar. As I Moonblast his Xerneas, put it in Sludge Bomb range, that means he can't Geomancy, and then he's got Incineroar, Amoonguss, Xerneas, and Tapu Koko against my Excadrill, and I literally just Earthquake the entire team. Like, it was really fun, because I end up Earthquaking myself multiple times as well, because I work out, like, the Xerneas hasn't Geomancied, the Incineroar hadn't intimidated me, so at that point I could just literally just Earthquake spam forever. And then game 3, I make the Sludge Bomb, like he switches back to his Xerneas Amoonguss. I make the Sludge Bomb Moonblast play as he Geomancies and Spores, so it's like, okay, game over. And I know he switched Tapu Koko to Lunala. That's why I switched to Ditto before in game 2. Then I switched back to a Veltal because I know he's going to switch to Lunala. I know I'm going to catch the Xerneas straight away in game 3, which I do, and it's like, okay, it's just game over. I can just relax now. And then I let my Veltal get Spored, and it sleeps for 3 turns, which lets him get Tailwind, which lets him Wide Guard my Earthquake, and lets him KO my Veltal with 2 Flare Blitzes. So I did get quite unlucky with the 3-turn sleep. If I'd have woken up at any of those points that I could, the game was just immediately over, but because of the 3-turn sleep, and because he had Wide Guard, that ended up losing me the game 3. But there we go. That's it. I don't know how long this has been going, because this is done on PowerPoint, so it's not. I can't see my OBS, so I don't know how long I've been going. I've been going for too long. For too long. If you made it to the end, then congratulations. You've earned a prize of losing probably over an hour of your life. I'm going to predict it's over an hour. This feels like over an hour, but whew, yeah, that's the team. That's Moon done. Sun and Moon are done. And now it's Ultra. Ultra is the one. I've been waiting for Ultra. Like, Sun and Moon have been fine. This team has made Sun and Moon bearable. If I didn't find this team, I would have hated Sun and Moon. But Sun and Moon was fine because of this team. So I'm really pleased I was able to make it. But Ultra. It's Ultra now. And Berlin is the next one. I'm hopefully going to be doing some recording for my Berlin preparation, because I like doing that for cans. I think it's would be beneficial for people to see my Berlin prep as well, because that's going to be kind of going from scratch from Ultra. I mean, I've built a few things, but nothing significant, so hopefully I'll get some Berlin prep recorded. But I do have my dissertation that's happening over this month as well. So there may not be that many Berlin prep videos, but I'm going to hope that to get at least some out. But yeah, I'm going to stop rambling now. I've been going for way too long, and if you made it to the end of this video, thanks for watching.